you know, I'm emphasizing that so much, Kevin, because I mean, I use that on ladder.
Yeah.
I actually, I have a build that I got from like a long time ago, old meta, that I've just been using. But I mean, Nerchio's probably got like a new updated one. I don't know. He used one gas that time, which was really interesting. Before a couple months ago, we saw him using. He would go gasless in the beginning. So, either way, guys, cool builds coming out of both of these players. In the top right hand corner, in the red, the man we were just talking about. He's got some sweet 1-1 timings with roaches and Gleal and all that fun stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, from Team Zerg Acer, it is Nerchio.
Team Zerg Acer Squad Nerchio.
I forget the other one. Team Zerg. Ladies and gentlemen, bottom left-hand corner, from Team Liquid. Some call him the little one. We'll just call him TLO.
Got to meet the big one as well. So, big one played at DreamHack Valencia. Great organization, by the way, guys. DreamHack. Wish them the very best in the future. They've got a pretty sweet tournament that's actually coming up next week. So, a little bit of a plug for them because they did right by me. They did treat me right, and they have their actually winter championships coming up next week. So this has really been the month of esports, as we had MLG's fall championship the first week of this.
It really has.
This month, and we Lone Star Clash last week. We have the Blizzard World Championship starting, well, like right now. And then next week we have DreamHack. The week after that is IPL 5. Very shortly after that, so the next IEM, the Makeup IEM. So a lot of really cool events coming out here.
Yeah, I mean, you almost want to sympathize for the players for a moment and be like, look, I understand you need a moment to just go back and learn and practice and refresh instead of preparing for your next tournament. But no, guys, esports is relentless. At this point, these guys are just, you know, they're just good enough.
Yeah,
they're good enough that we'll just work them like
and keep throwing up $100,000 prize pools to attract them.
Yeah, really. I'm thinking. I mean, it's honestly, it's a certain degree. Like, you know, you take a look at a lot of sports. They need a practice season is all.
Yeah.
You need to set them up a nice practice season. And then you can have all this nonstop action.
Well, markedly different builds coming out for these players once again. TLO's actually done the same thing. He decided to expand. He's got his pool and extractor coming up right afterwards. So no real difference from him. Nerchio, on the other hand, has decided to bypass gas, going for that pool first. Make sure he prioritizes his queens, gets 2 queens out, starts those earlier in checks, gets the ball rolling there.
Yep.
So a bit different from his gas and pool first build that we saw last time.
Now, we'll see. One of the things that they actually played a match on this game, and one of the things that was really characterized by TLO was his aggressiveness. He was surprisingly aggressive. I'm actually not, you know, TLO, he's a little guy, man. You don't expect him to be pushing people around so much. But no, really, I mean, he was very aggressive on this map, and it actually got him the lead. He was kind of pinned up in his base, actually, like right down here, like just down like the littlest bit.
Oh, there.
Like right
here.
There.
Yeah.
He was crammed up at the top of his ramp, and then all of a sudden, he just like runs down it and fungles Nerchio's army and really catches it, gets a huge lead. So doing unexpected stuff like that's really going to be nice for him. But here we are at almost 36 supply. Gases, yeah, going to go down for Nerchio. We'll see if it's 2. That's what we would expect.
My favorite TLO story is when I was at MLG Dallas last year, 2011. We were at a party afterwards, and they had these like large tubes of a beverage. I'll just say a beverage because we're on stream.
Yeah.
And
reasonable.
so the problem was that everyone was filling this. Everyone was filling their cups up, and it was only going about halfway, and then the rest was just froth that was coming out of here. TLO walks up to it, pours his beverage in. Perfect pour, completely 100% beverage, no extra froth on top.
Just that nice perfect half-inch.
Looks at all of us, shrugs his shoulder, and goes, "I'm German," and walks away. TLO is awesome.
That's legendary.
Well,
all right. There's the Roach Warren out of Nerchio. I mean, I really think it's gonna be Lair and double Evo right after. I'm like, this. It looks exactly like that build. He went for double 36 gas.
I like this, though, in reaction to what TLO did last time, because TLO actually bypassed that defensive Baneling Nest. Kind of paid for it, took a lot of damage. The Banelings didn't do so much. They kind of blew up on some larvae, and, you know, limited production, yes. They didn't kill any workers, though. It was mostly the Zerglings afterwards that did. But TLO doesn't think he's going to do anything differently. And, in fact, TLO is actually going down that path that we had seen before with multiple evolution chambers, getting everything in place the way that he did last game. So Nerchio says, all right, well, if you're not going to do that, then I'm just going to go right to this Roach Run, and I'm not going to put down a Baneling Nest either.
Yeah. It's actually, I mean, you look at this and you're like, why can't I do this build on ladder and make it work? Because Nerchio, he has used this build or a small variation of it. He used this 3 out of 4 games now that he's played against TLO. And the other game, it was just a small variation. He just mixed in early gas. It slowed the build down a tiny bit. You know, he got a couple banelings and actually pressured TLO. But it seems like an incredibly safe build, especially here on Cloud Kingdom. I mean, you've got the Evo chamber wall off with the spine. We were talking about that the other day, that it used to be part of the meta, and here's Nerchio bringing it back.
And here's TLO walking out with some queens. One actually taking control of the Zelnugget Tower. This is the slowest.
Long-ranged.
Yeah, no kidding. Man, like 5 Zerglings would make that queen feel really bad right about now.
Hey, man, it's a regular old expedition. Maybe she's mapping the local terrain.
Well, she's getting out there and checking to see what sort of vision that Nerchio has, because TLO just made a bunch of roaches. 13 of them when this last one finishes up, with a pretty powerful +1/+1 timing attack about to hit the field. Now, Nerchio deciding, of course, going for that build that you were talking about before, and bypassing that Baneling Nest, has a pretty powerful response himself. This is going to be a difficult position for TLO to try and assault, even if the upgrades are going to finish for him a little bit better.
This is actually kind of cool, though. TLO, it almost seems as if he's crafted this build to try to break Nerchio's build. Because look, his +1/+1's going to finish like 15, 20 seconds before. He skipped Lair, he skipped Galil. He realized, I can't afford to, I need a faster timing here. He's designing this build to hit just before Nerchio's build.
And
it's really cool.
TLO actually picks up on the third base that's coming up, but of course his hatchery is a lot quicker.
Just didn't work.
Yeah, TLO very, very slow on his lair tech, though. But I think you're right. You want to try and get in there and do damage, but Nerchio, of course, had everything already prepared, and you would have just fought into a standstill. You wouldn't have done any economic damage, so he realizes that he needs to get back, tech up himself, and get everything underway for the later part of this game.
And then you're going to have an opponent who has Galil Reconstitution, and you don't. So here's TLO, moving down the ramp. Tries to snipe a roach. Does not succeed in that endeavor.
And these are quick roaches. Roaches on Creeper, just surprisingly fast. You just don't expect how quick they are. They can catch up to pretty much anything. And stim units even find a tough time trying to get away from them.
It's like trying to catch a grasshopper. It's like every time you go for it, it just is instantly somewhere else.
I have this image of like miniature StarCraft roaches now, and they're like bounding through my my yard, and like I'm trying to pick them up, and they just like clip at my fingers a little bit. I'm like, oh, get away, roach!
Spit some acid on you.
Yeah, I know.
My eye. Speaking of which, I was that changeling earlier, sitting under all the roach spitting at each other.
Yeah, just watching it fly overhead.
That would be like the coolest situation to be in. Just watching acid fly over your head, but like you're actually. There's no chance of that changeling being touched. I mean,
I don't know. I don't know if I want to voluntarily put myself in that position. I'm just going to throw that out there.
I'd lay down under it.
Yeah, well, you're a better man than I am. Nerchio with a lot of forces, though. He's going up to 2-2, a little bit slower than his opponent. He's only got +2 weapons on the way. His opponent does have 2-2, including Carapace coming up. Of course, Nerchio is all the way done with his pathogen glands now. His first few infestors are starting to hit. TLO, on the other hand, I'm going to take a look at his base, but I believe he's thrown down an infestation. Oh, he has infestation pit, but again, he's waited on the pathogen glands. There we go.
There it goes. Right as you were hovering over that button, Kevin. If that's not ESP. All right, guys, so Nerchio's got a nice quantity of roaches. He just popped out some infestors. TLO is, it's actually more Nerchio who's the player who is really reliant on not getting caught by infestors most of the time. He goes for them really, really late. TLO a little out of his comfort zone, I think, here, because we almost always see him get infestors really fast.
But maybe switching things up in light of their recent meetings, and it didn't work out for him in game number 1. Took a little bit too much damage at the beginning. But Nerchio now, he's got a comfortable lead in overall supply. He's actually down by 11 workers, which means his overall army supply is quite a bit bigger than his opponent. He's got 5 more infestors coming up. They're not going to be used in this fight. TLO just delaying until his first 6 infestors get done right now.
All right, Nerchio kind of just trouncing back and forth. He sees that there's no infestors, so it seems he's comfortable with having all his units balled up, and now he's going to pull out. Because infestors are actually about to spawn here for TLO, so if TLO had those spawn, I mean, imagine the fungals that could go down on Nerchio's big clumped up ball of roaches there would swing the tide of the game instantly. But Nerchio going to try to avoid that. Oh, that's so scary. He catches a nice clump of about 10 roaches. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. It looks like Nerchio's going to try and maybe move up here and pressure a bit, but look at this. He misses a few of them, but that's a lot of dead roaches.
Yeah. All right, nice for TLO. Does get about 7 or 8. Now he's throwing away 3, though.
Yeah. Well, a little bit surprised there, have to say. But it's actually going to give him the time he needs to get him with the rest of his forces. Doesn't actually land a fungal growth on anything else. Maybe not the best engagement, as he does give up the concave a bit, and he doesn't have a lot of energy left over on the infestors, but it looks like he will be able to force Nerchio back for the moment. Where are the rest of Nerchio's forces? Looks like they're all here. That's what I was wondering. I was like, I know Nerchio has more forces, but they were just all sitting back in the third.
Yeah, he absolutely should have had more. TLO probably thinking the same thing too. What TLO actually did there, he took a small group of his roaches, walked them down the ramp, left the rest sitting at the top. It made it less dangerous to fungal growth and such. And then Nerchio was like, I could take these roaches, so he started the engagement, and then TLO came down with the other half of his roaches, and suddenly Nerchio had to run.
Oh, that was really nice. He actually pins half of TLO's units in position, and that forces the other half to come back and engage, and TLO is just getting devastated. He tries to make his way up with a few more forces, but he just can't do it. He's going to have to expend a fungal on just these 2 roaches, unless he wants to lose the infestor, and does, and now Nerchio has a massive advantage in this game.
Yeah, concaves aside, Nerchio, yeah, he doesn't really care about that. Just going to push up here, and there's nothing TLO can do against this army. It is incredibly huge. Going to have to drop the GG, guys. He's going to be down 2-0 now against Nerchio. Nerchio, so impressive there.
Yeah, Nerchio looking great. I mean, this guy has been playing really well lately. We've mentioned it a bunch of times, I understand, but Nerchio is really, really good.
Yeah.
And he's just 1 game away from advancing into the semifinals here at the GOM World Championship qualifiers.
All right, guys. Well, we'll be bringing you Game 3 in just a moment. Right now, Nerchio is just looking on top of the world. We'll see if TLO is going to be able to bring it back or if he's just going to let it slide to a 0-3.
All right, guys. We'll head to a commercial break. We'll be right back after this.